Chapter 6, Lab B. And that's when I lose it. The only reason I'd kept it together this long was because Jack was so sure there was a way out of here. His confidence kept my mind occupied, not giving me 1 second to truly contemplate our situation, believing we would be able to sort it all out once we got back home. But I realize now it was all for show. Jack was being strong for my benefit, and seeing him like this brings reality crashing down on me. Maybe reality is a poor choice of word, I think. My legs buckle, and I plop down on the bench beside Jack. My mouth is so dry, it's hard for me to swallow. I feel myself giving in to the rising hysteria inside of me when I hear Jack's voice. It's distorted, as if he's shouting at me from underwater. "Grace, you in there?" he asks. I don't know how to answer him. I don't think I know how to do anything. Apparently, Jack's taken my hand again because when I look down, I see our fingers are intertwined. I see this, but I don't feel his hand in mine. I don't feel anything. I'm completely numb. I'm floating, weightless, drifting away from everything my mind can't comprehend. "Grace." Jack's voice is urgent now, as he gently shakes me. Leave me alone, I think. I'm exhausted, and all I want to do is lie down and sleep. I close my eyes, but Jack's still calling my name, and I become irritated. How am I supposed to get any rest with him making all this noise? "Everything all right here? What's wrong with your friend?" "She's had a bit of a shock." "Here, give her this." Something cold flows into my mouth, and I cough, the force partially waking me from my trance-like state. I'm so tired. Where am I? The lock-in? "I'm getting a soda. Want one?" Is he going to kiss me? I feel Jack's strong hand tipping my head back and taste the apple juice he's pouring into my mouth. This time I swallow, and a few minutes later, I come back to the present. The irony strikes me and I grin. Which present? I blink against the bright sunshine, and when my eyes focus, I'm surprised to find a young mother standing beside a baby stroller looking down on us. "I think that did the trick," says Jack. "Thank you." "It was nothing," says the woman. "I always have extras when we go out. Here are a couple more, just in case." She looks at me and bites her lower lip. "You sure you guys are going to be okay?" Jack props me up beside him. "Say something, Grace," he whispers. "I'm fine," I mumble. "Forgot to eat lunch." "That happens," says the mother. She digs in her cavernous bag and pulls out 2 packs of peanut butter crackers. "These and the juice should perk you up." Jack takes the crackers. "Thanks." The baby inside the stroller stirs and begins to cry, causing the last of the cobwebs to clear from my head. "I'm already feeling better," I say. The mother shushes the baby and rocks the stroller gently. "Are you sure?" she asks, looking eager to get moving again. "Definitely," I say. "We'll sit here for a few more minutes and then head home. My house is just around the corner." This seems to satisfy her. "Okay then. You two be careful and don't overdo." She gives us a smile before pushing the stroller toward downtown New Bern. Jack opens the pack of crackers and hands me one. "Eat." I nibble on the cracker, then chase it down with apple juice. We sit there until I've eaten the entire pack of crackers and finished a second juice box. I know I'm okay because I feel so embarrassed by what happened. "Sorry," I say. "You should be," says Jack. "You scared me half to death." "Kinda your fault," I say. "How do you figure that?" "You did say I could freak out later," I say. "It's later." Jack chuckles. "I did say that." He puts his arm around my shoulder, and I lean against him. "Promise you won't do that again," he says. "I promise, if you promise not to turn into a zombie again," I say. "Deal," says Jack. I feel bad for not thinking about this earlier. Jack has just come face to face with his dead uncle. That brief visit had to bring about a million different emotions, including, I'm sure, a tremendous sadness. Are you okay? I ask. I'm sorry about your uncle.
Yeah, I'm fine. He was a really great guy, says Jack. Is it selfish that I kinda want to go back and hang out with him for a while?
Not at all. And if that's what you want to do, we'll do it,
I do want to go back, but I don't know what to say to him, says Jack. This version of my uncle is just a few years older than we are now. He has no idea what's ahead for him. He's going to go to college, meet my aunt there, get married, and have kids. Then,
Jack takes a deep breath.
Then one day he just won't wake up.
I put my arm around Jack's waist and give him a squeeze.
He passed away in his sleep, says Jack.
He wipes a tear from his face.
If we go back, I don't know what to say to him. I can't tell him about any of that, and I doubt I'd be able to think of anything else while I stood staring at him.
It sounds like he was a good man, and he lived a good life, I say. I think you're right not to tell him about his future. It wouldn't serve any purpose except to make him afraid to live his life. What if he decided not to do all of those things because he didn't want to leave anyone behind? He'd miss out on so much.
Well, I can tell you one thing, says Jack. If we have somehow stumbled on how to time travel, I will go back to that point in time when my uncle knew me. And I think I will hang out there with him for a while, along with some other people I miss.
I think that's a great idea, I say. We sit in silence watching the sun sink lower to the horizon. The air begins to feel crisp as little by little traffic builds up on this tiny road. A bus is making its way toward us, and I remember we're sitting at a bus stop. Looks like everyone's getting off from work. Any ideas what we should do now? I ask.
Depends on how you feel, says Jack.
The tingling in my hands and feet has subsided, and I do feel much better after getting a little protein and sugar inside of me. I'm fine, I assure him.
Well, if you're up to the hike, I think our best bet is to go back to the river, says Jack.
I mull this over for a minute and agree. The point of origin, I say. That makes sense. Maybe we can get out of here the same way we came through. Jack stands and stretches, then puts his hand out to me.
Take a walk?
I take Jack's hand, stand up, and we retrace our steps back through town and down the path to the Neuse River. We reach the edge of the woods, and Jack hesitates before we go into the clearing.
Do you hear that?
He asks. A low rumbling grows louder the closer it gets to us. Jack and I duck behind a low bush and peer out toward the river. Someone's coming, I say. A gray van slows as it leaves the road and drives across the grassy meadow before stopping near the brown park sign. Two women climb out and open the rear van doors. They each unload a net and a white pail. One woman has wavy blonde hair that looks like it's trying to escape her scalp. The other has black hair arranged in short spikes. They walk to the water's edge, which is obscured by grassy overgrowth.
Wonder how Reagan will close out his last year in office,
says Spiky. She's slender and clothed in a black t-shirt and khaki pants.
Think we'll get more funding?
Reagan's last term, whispers Jack. Ended in January 1989, I whisper. Spiky puts her hand up to shield the glare of the sun. She sighs loudly.
Not again,
she says. Blondie pulls a piece of paper from her pocket, unfolds it, and writes while Spiky puts on gloves, then dips her net into the river. She pulls out a fish and plops it into one of the buckets. How many do you think this time? Asks Blondie.
I'd guess about 50,
says Spiky, scanning the river.
Those fish are dead,
whispers Jack. How did that happen? I ask. I see several other fish floating in the river. Some have large red sores on their bodies. Spiky pulls a few more fish from the water while Blondie puts on gloves and collects water samples. They carry the water samples and nets back to the van, then return for the white pails. I feel compelled to follow these two women. Come on, Jack. I pull on his arm. We can walk all down the edge of the woods until we're close to their van. Then we can jump in and hide in the back.
No way, says Jack. Didn't your parents ever teach you not to ride with strangers?
Look, I can't explain it, but I really think we're supposed to go with them. Maybe this is our lesson. Even if it isn't, we can't stay out here. There's no shelter, and we don't know if it's going to be cold tonight because we don't know what month we're in. I remember Jack's words and throw them back at him. We can freak out later?
That's going to be one giant freak out, says Jack, raising an eyebrow. He sighs. Let's get going before we miss our ride.
Jack and I move swiftly through the woods, keeping our eyes trained on the two women. They've just returned to the water's edge as we climb into the back of their van. Jack and I squeeze behind several boxes, and he pulls a tarp over us. We wait silently until the women return. I hold my breath, watching the women through a sliver of a gap between the box and the tarp. They set their pails in narrow, trough-like bins, put lids on the pails, and slam the doors shut. It's close quarters in here, with a half-dozen buckets of fish and several smelly nets. We ride in silence for about 10 minutes, all the while the sky growing grayer. When the van comes to a stop, Jack points out the window to what looks like a guardhouse. A few moments later, we're on our way again, riding another minute or so before the van parks inside a fenced lot. The van doors open, and Blondie and Spiky come around to the back, open the door, and unload the buckets.
We're supposed to put the specimens in Lab B, says Spiky.
They leave the van doors open, and we leap out like silent cats. Jack runs to the building, catching the glass door just before it shuts. Thankfully, no one looks back as we make our way inside. The building has the feel of a school, or maybe a university. The hallway is wide and well lit. Light brown doors line both sides of the hall. Each door has a small glass window at the top of a black plaque with white letters which tell the room number. Spiky stops to unlock a door at the end of the hallway. The two women slip inside and the door closes behind them. Jack pulls me into a small alcove just as the door pops open again. Blondie bends to shove a wedge in the door, propping it open. Jack and I melt into the wall as the two women pass us. Once they're outside, we dash to Lab B and immediately seek hiding places. The lab is filled with rows and rows of black-topped lab benches that hold microscopes, slides, and specimens. Jack begins trying each doorknob of the 3 doors inside the lab. I smile about Jack and his opening doors thing.
Come on, he says. This one's open. Looks like a storage room.
I run toward Jack and we dive inside just as the lab door opens again. Jack closes the storage room door behind us. It clicks shut, no quieter than a cannon going off. Blondie and Spiky come through the lab door, laughing loudly about something. I breathe again, realizing they haven't heard us. Jack and I crouch low behind 2 filing cabinets, just in case they decide to come in here. I can hear the women talking, but I can't make out their words. I don't know how long Jack and I hide behind the cabinets, but my right foot cramps up, begging for relief. Just when I think I can bear the pain no longer, I hear Spiky's voice as they pass by the storage room.
Still no evidence of any chemicals, she says.
I guess that's good news, says Blondie. But it's 6:30. Too late to call anyone today. We'll have to wait until Monday morning. I feel a sweat break out over my skin, the pain in my foot as hot as a fireball. As soon as I hear the outer door close, I get up from my cramped position and walk around, trying to stretch the muscles in my foot. Jack stares at me. Foot cramp, I explain. I lean against the wall, slip off my shoe, and begin massaging the arch of my foot until I can flex my toes without feeling any stiffness. Jack reaches for the light switch. Wait, I whisper. Let's be sure they're gone. We slink out of the storage room and tiptoe to the window. I'm surprised to see how quickly the gray skies have turned to night. The van doors slam shut and the engine cranks. We watch the van until we see its taillights vanish in the darkness, and we wait a few more minutes until we're convinced they won't be coming back. Go ahead, I say. Jack flips the switch and the room is bathed in bright light. With the lights on, it makes it impossible to see anything in the darkness outside. I feel vulnerable in here with all these windows. I quickly close the blinds. I know they won't hide the light, but at least I feel better knowing no one can see us. If I had to guess what Jack would do first, I'd say he'd go straight to the microscopes and have a look at the slides the women had just packed away. But if I'd have guessed that, I'd be wrong. Jack's opening the door of every refrigerator in the lab. You aren't going to eat any of that, are you? I ask. Look at the signs. I point to a red one with white letters. Not for food.
Just thought I'd check, says Jack. I know we're back in the day, he says. But when we get out of this building, I've got to find a hamburger.
I shake my head. Eat the other pack of crackers.
Not the same, says Jack.
I make my way around the room, touching each microscope base.
What are you doing?
Asks Jack. I'm trying to find the workstation they were using. Maybe we can find out what they were looking at. The next microscope I touch is slightly warm, where the light has just been turned off. This is the one.
Jack looks at me. Such a nerd.
You better believe it, I say proudly. I open a slender drawer underneath the lab bench and find a small rack of microscope slides. They are lined up in date order. I move to the back of the rack and pull out the last slide. I know what day it is, I say.
Hump day?
Asks Jack. I roll my eyes at this old joke and read the slide's label. September 22nd, 1988. Jack drops a small flat box on the bench. I put the slide down and pull a pair of gloves from the box. They're a bit loose, but they'll do the job. Jack also pulls on a pair while I turn on the microscope, place the slide on the stage, and secure it with stage clips. I peer into the eyepiece and only have to make a slight adjustment before the image comes into view. A single cell is visible on the slide. It looks like a bubble cut in half with a tail coming out from the middle. I feel Jack beside me, waiting for his turn. I move aside and read some notes on a pad near the microscope. Among the notes is a short list written in bold letters. 1. Only fish in the Neuse River have been affected. 2. Neuse River fish kills occur after heavy rains. I tear off a piece of paper under the note and copy everything down. When I look at the slide again, I sketch the strange-looking cell.
Looks good, Jack says, studying the sketch over my shoulder.
I fold up the paper and slip it into my front pocket. I return the slide to its storage place, turn off the microscope light, and remove my gloves. Jack's holding the lid of a trash bin open for me, and we deposit our gloves into the bin.
What do you think it is?
Asks Jack, as we stand at side-by-side sinks, lathering industrial-grade soap over our hands. I allow my hands to linger in the warm water, just a few seconds longer, enjoying the sense of calm. I think it's some kind of bacteria, because the fish looked as if something had been feeding on them.
And bacteria feed, but viruses don't. Good one, says Jack.
My stomach grumbles in response.
Me too, says Jack, patting his stomach. There's got to be a break room somewhere. I doubt this building has a shelter like the one at Mims. But what do you say about going on another exploration?
As long as we can eat the food we find this time, I say. I turn off the lights. The door closes automatically behind us, and for a second, I feel a little uncertain when I realize we're now locked out of Lab B. But then I smile when I see Jack doing what he does best, trying every closed door on the hallway.
Found it, he says, opening a door a few feet away.
Never has vending machine food looked so good. And I mean that. Not a single healthy choice among the bunch. Jack must have read my thoughts.
Now these guys know how to eat.
He pulls several bills from his wallet.
I've got a 20 and 6 singles.
That's more than I have, I say. All of my money is back in my book bag, which is...
who knows where, finishes Jack.
He hands me $3. Thanks, I say. Next trip to the beanery is on me.
I'll hold you to it,
says Jack. I look at the dollar bill in my hand. Do you think this money will work in these machines? I ask.
Well, for once we may be lucky having old technology. I doubt these machines are equipped with optical scanners, so I think we should be good. Jack slides $1 into the machine and punches a few buttons. Out comes a ham and cheese sandwich. He steps aside for me. I punch in the same numbers and think I've never been happier to see a simple sandwich. Jack pulls out a bag of chips from a nearby cabinet, and I find a few Cokes in the refrigerator. We set our bounty onto one of the round white tables and dig in. I take a few minutes to look around the room. There are 3 of these tables and 2 long couches against the corner of the room. "Yeah," says Jack, watching me survey the room. "I think we're in for the night. It's only September here, so it won't be too cold outside, but I think we'd be better off staying inside the building." I agree, and while this does give me some comfort, I can't shake the uneasy feeling that when I wake up, Jack might not be here with me. I'm not even sure I'll wake up in this room. What if whatever caused us to, I don't know, hop? What if it happens again while we're sleeping? I ask. "I've been thinking about that," says Jack. "I'm going with the idea that we were right." "About what?" I ask. "About time travel being based on consent of sorts," says Jack. I don't know about you, but I don't remember giving consent to travel back in time when I turned in all of my paperwork at the beginning of the school year. "Like I said," says Jack, "of sorts." "Explain?" "Remember the words on the envelope?" asks Jack. "Fill your mind," I say, but Jack shushes me, cutting me off before I can finish. "You think that's what started all of this?" I ask doubtfully. "I don't know what started this whole weird chain of events, but that was the first link in the chain. Things were normal. We read those words and everything changed." "What do you think will happen if I say them again?" I ask. "I don't know, but I don't want to try until we're home. Maybe not even then," says Jack. We rise and throw our trash away, trying to leave no evidence of our visit. Jack goes to the door and locks it. "Just in case someone comes in before we wake up," he says. "Not likely. In this place? World? It's Friday night," I say. "We probably don't have to worry about anyone coming back tonight, and I doubt anyone will come in early on a Saturday morning." While I do find I feel safer with the door locked, I still can't shake the fear of waking up here alone. "We'll be fine," says Jack, as if reading my mind. I look at the couches, sure that doubt is etched in every line of my face. "Okay," says Jack. "How's this?" He pushes one of the couches in front of the other so that their open sides are facing. "I bet you didn't know this, but I'm a champion fort builder." "Never heard of that contest," I say. I smile by how easy it is for Jack to calm my mind. "That's because the championship took place in my living room. I won against Emma." Jack grins. "Climb in." I remember seeing something in one of the drawers in the kitchen cabinets. "Hang on," I say. I go to the cabinet, look inside, and pull out 2 tablecloths. I toss one on Jack's couch and lie down on mine. Jack slides the couches closer together, then lies down on the other couch. I admit I feel a certain security over being between the 2 wall-like backs of the couches, but it's still not enough for me to even consider going to sleep. "I don't remember the last time I went to bed at 8 o'clock, says Jack. He yawns loudly and pulls his tablecloth blanket up to his shoulders. "But 8 o'clock here means nothing to us. For all we know, it's midnight on Miller's Island." I feel Jack's eyes on me. "No opinion on that?" he asks. "Sorry, I just can't seem to relax." "It's going to be all right, Grace," said Jack. "How do you know that?" I ask. "Because we're all right." Jack puts out his hand, and I take it in mine. I decide to trust Jack and his simple logic.